first thing that we need to do is go and grab a coffee because I am mad tired and you might be able to see by my eyes. So let's go ahead and do that, shall we? So I've got all of my gear here with me as well. So we're going to go ahead and grab that coffee and then we're going to go take a walk and I'm going to talk you through how you can build your confidence in the workplace. And you know that I'm yours, all right. So we made it at the destination, but there was a rainbow in the sky before that I wanted to show you, but that's gone now. But never mind. I'm going to get out of the car in a second and I'm going to take you on a nice walk. First I'm going to drink a little bit of this. So many cute dogs walking this morning. I'm going to walk this way to try and put a bit of distance between you and them. If they smell Daisy and Pepper, I think I've had it. So yeah, let's get into it. So I'm going to tell you a little story first before we get into it. Just to give you a bit of backstory, really, because confidence is one of those things that I've always struggled with. Always. In fact, there was a point in time when I was about 8 or 9, maybe, that I actually struggled to even ask if I could leave the table because I was so shy. And I always felt as if nobody really wanted to hear what I had to say. And that really carried through into school, it carried through into college, it carried through then onto when I started my first job in accounting. And in short, there was many reasons why I was shy, and sometimes, as you know yourself, a lot of it comes from external factors, your experiences. It can come from, other experiences, so things that have potentially knocked down your confidence in time. So whether that be a teacher who's taken the wrong approach, or a parent or sibling even, or just another factor. So it's really easy to knock down confidence, and sometimes it's not as easy to bring it back up again. So I'm hoping I don't get my feet stuck in this, but we'll see. That really nice view over there. So before we get into this full video, then feel free to share your story of confidence in the comment section, because it's always really nice to hear other people's experiences and also any advice that you've got for anybody watching the video, particularly if you work in an accounting or finance function, and what actions you took to boost your confidence. So here's the story. So when I was working in my first job, I remember being literally terrified. I was really excited to start my first job on my first day, and in the weeks leading up to it, I was just really excited to start earning some money, and everything was going great, but I was utterly terrified to be in an office, really, and just to be around people that I didn't know, because I wasn't confident anyway, and I really didn't want to start up conversation with people. So I'm just at home now re-recording this section because the wind got so bad on that beach. Now I'm going to skip forward slightly in a second, because it wasn't until I actually got put onto an audit job with a new manager in the middle of Wales, in the middle of nowhere, that actually changed my perspective. Previous to that, I still had the same insecurities. I really wasn't very confident talking to the client. I really wasn't confident going to ask them questions, and I wasn't confident asking my manager any questions either. Because of that cycle, I really wasn't learning enough at the time. So he really sat down with me and he gave me a little bit of really life advice and advice in the workplace. He really changed my perspective on all of that, particularly in the workplace, because he said, right, you work in practice, and it doesn't matter actually when I think about it if you work in practice or industry, but particularly in practice, what you have is a pyramid structure. So you have your juniors, you have your seniors, you have your managers, you have your partners. And the main reason that you have that is so that the individuals at the next level of seniority above you can share what they know with you and pass that down. So if you remember that when you're working, it helps a little bit, because it helps you to understand that your purpose and the reason why you've been brought in as a trainee is because you don't know everything and because you're supposed to ask questions. So if you're somebody who struggles with asking questions and you really don't feel very confident in saying, no, I don't understand, or, can you just show me that one more time? Just know that their job is to teach you. Their job is to bring you up to their level. So don't ever be afraid to ask questions in the workplace, because if you don't ask questions, and this is where I fell down, particularly in when I first started in my career, because I was so shy. I really didn't want to ask those questions, because my default thought process was that, well, if I ask those questions and I'm wrong, or I ask a stupid question, they're just going to think that I'm really stupid. And it didn't help that, particularly in my job, there was a young man who had started before me, and he'd actually been fired and dismissed. So I felt as if I really had to impress in order to keep my job, which obviously did not help. So yeah, for months on end, probably about 4 months, I didn't really ask the questions that I should have asked. The reason why I didn't ask was because, firstly, my manager was very busy. Very busy lady, very stressed out, and I didn't want to bother her when I knew that she didn't have the time to sit with me and show me certain things. So I just bottled it all up and tried to find the answer myself. So if you're somebody who doesn't feel confident with asking those questions, don't put yourself in that situation and just ask away, and just know that managers are there to help you, not to hinder you in any way, and they won't think that your question is stupid. So yeah, I hope that helps. You can see all of this beach here where the water's been in. It's been absolutely peeing it down as well, which doesn't help. So my second tip is that you should really think about confidence as a muscle. And the reason why I describe it as a muscle is because you need to practice to get better. So in my experience, again, the only way that I've been able to increase my confidence is to put myself into situations that I really don't want to be in, such as, presenting to the board, or presenting to my manager at month end, for instance, or equally having to stand up in front of people and give a speech of any kind. So those situations you really don't want to be in are the situations that you want to put yourself in, because that way, if you put yourself in those situations, you deal with it. So almost as if, how your body adapts to certain situations, you'll find that the more that you do something that you really don't want to do, because you're a shy individual and you just don't want to be in that uncomfortable situation, the easier it gets. And a very fine example of this for me is YouTube, because you'll be surprised actually how difficult it is when you are a shy individual to look into the camera for any length of time. And that's going to sound really stupid, isn't it? It does, it sounds utterly stupid. But for instance, for me, when I first started out, I didn't want anybody to hear me talking on camera, because I felt really stupid, really daft, just talking into a camera. And you'll notice, if you look at my earlier videos, that I really don't seem very confident at all, because I am really uncomfortable talking into this camera. But you've got to do it. You just got to put yourself into those situations that you don't want to be in, to practice and to gain that confidence. Because what you'll find is all of those thoughts that you had previously of, I'm going to make a fool of myself, I look daft, I really don't want to do this, etc. You'll find that nobody's thinking that. So if you get up, for instance, and talk in front of a mass group of people and you mess up, it doesn't matter, because firstly, they don't know that you've messed up. And secondly, if you do and it's really apparent, all you say is, I'm so nervous. And you just make a joke out of it. And they understand, because they've been in that boat themselves. So nobody's really judgmental in those situations. Equally, if, for instance, you're somebody who's giving a presentation and if you're anything like me, you dread presentations and you dread all of the questions that you're gonna get asked that you don't know the answer to, and you're just thinking, oh my word, I have to prepare for everything because I really don't know all of these different bits, and what if they ask, and what if I don't know, and I'm gonna look stupid, etc. Well, stop that thought process, because if you get asked in a presentation something that you really don't know the answer to, or you don't have the figures to hand there and then, all you say is, okay, well, I don't have that to hand, so I'll go back and look at it for you. Simple. So what you'll find, particularly working in accounting and finance, is that people aren't as judgmental as you think they are. If you're still really struggling with your confidence, then just think about how you think of other people in the office. So when somebody else asks a question, do you sit there thinking, that's a really daft question, how dare you ask? Or do you think, oh no, that's a valid question, I'd like to know the answer too? So if your answer is the second one, then just know that's exactly what people are thinking when you ask a question. So don't think that you can't ask those questions, because you certainly can. Now, my last tip is something that you may resonate with. So if you do, then pop that in the comment section below. And it's where, particularly again in accounting and finance, when you're working on a client's books and your manager asks you to go ahead and call that client and ask them for a piece of missing information that they've not sent through, or to talk them through something, and you're a shy individual and you really do not want to make that phone call. And if you're anything like I was when I was a student, the reason I didn't want to make those phone calls is because, again, I didn't want to bother the client, and I thought the client might think I'm stupid because I'm not a qualified accountant yet and I don't know what I'm talking about. So I'm here to tell you two things about clients. Firstly, they don't mind a call from their accountant to ask them questions, because it helps speed along the process of preparing financial statements. Secondly, nobody thinks you're stupid and they're not aware of your seniority. And finally, clients are still human beings. So the likelihood of them being rude to you on the phone is actually very, very slim. So, I'm all wrapped up. So yeah, I hope today's video has helped you, and please do consider subscribing if it did, or if you like this sort of content. Yeah, otherwise I'll catch you at the next video.